Hello. As you guys start coming in for the last mentor chat, introduce yourself. Tonight's topic is about closing down the art room and yearly reflection. So we're going to see if anybody wants to join me this evening, and we'll go from there. I see someone is here. A couple people. Yay! Like I said, this is our last mentor talk of the school year, so once you kind of come in, just introduce yourself, say hi. Won't be a super long talk tonight unless we have lots of questions. All right. Well, many of you are lucky enough to be done with school next week. And to you folks, I am super jealous. We go till the 23rd. So if it is your last week next week, a lot of this you're going to have to kind of get on the ball. The first thing you probably want to do when it comes to, hi Shannon, finishing up your school year is one, find out when your grades are due. I worked in a school that they were due, I want to say 4 o'clock the same day the kids were out. So we had to have all our grades done, like pretty much as soon as the kids walked out the door. We were to have our grades in and be done. When they need grades that quickly, I shut down my art room about, I want to say 3 days before the end. That gives me 3 days to grade after school and during plan time, and that gives me 1 to 2 days to have the kids do makeup work because they don't always get it done in time, and help clean the classroom because that's their job to help clean the classroom. And I also have been known to either, with my elementary kids, we did sidewalk chalk the last day of school, because you've wrapped up and you're just trying to get through that last little bit. But my high school kids, an artsy movie is currently in my plan. We'll see how it goes. But like the second to last or the third to last, that's when they clean out all their cubbies, and they take everything home. I don't allow my students to store anything art-wise in my classroom, much to their shock when I had cleaned out the classroom this year, because I guess their previous teacher did let them leave stuff over the school year, or over the summer. I just don't have room for that, and I think most art teachers struggle between wanting to keep everything and possibly not being a hoarder, and so I struggle with that. So I try to get the kids to take home everything. I just don't keep anything. That's just me. So we do have one day where they clean out their cubbies. They take everything home. I have been known to have them bring in either gift bags or go to Dillon's and get the paper sacks or plastic bags, but they got to take everything home. And then what I've been known to do in my middle school rooms and my high school rooms is I print out a list of random cleaning jobs. And this is their last assignment, basically. They have to do the job. They have to sign the back. I have to check it. And then that's like 20 points towards their grade. So they have to help clean up the room because they're the ones who, they're the ones who mess it up. So I do make my students clean the room as much as possible. Now, as far as shutting down the art room, as far as your district is concerned, that depends on your district. You will need to start talking to your administrators if you haven't already. I've had districts where you had to fill out paper forms. You had to go through what you wanted done over the summer, if there was stuff in your room that needed maintenance, things like that, and that all had to be turned in before you could check out. Let's see, grades obviously is a big one. My current school, I have to get everything put away because apparently they're using my room for driver's ed, which kind of sucks. But so I'll be putting everything away. I had a friend who taught at a middle school that literally she had to put everything away and give up her keys. She was not allowed in her classroom the entire summer. She had to give her keys in during the summertime and then check them back out in the fall. So it really depends on your district on what their policy is. So you might want to start asking those questions now, if you haven't already. Chances are, if you guys are getting out, if you're getting out next week, you've probably already been approached. I hope. If not, start asking those questions and ask your colleagues. Like, hey, what's the procedure? So there's that. I see that we've got a few people watching. Does anybody have any questions about closing up the art room? We'll start there. This is also a great time to take stock of supplies. What did you go through? This is the time that I'm already going, okay, this didn't work, that didn't work, I went through that. And I'm starting to make lists of what I need to make next year better. So, supply list. Did you run out of something unexpectedly? Did you order too much of something? That's happened to me. So this is where supply-wise you really start reevaluating. Oh, I ordered too much. I didn't order enough. So you can take precautions next year. Some districts make you put in next year's order before you leave for the summer. So that's another question you might ask your principal. So when we're looking at reflections for your year, besides supplies, now's the time to look at the lessons that you did. Were they successful? How do you define success? What are some things that you could do better next year? I'll be honest, this is my 11th year teaching. I am no expert, and I made some pretty big mistakes at the beginning of my school year that led to a very rough year. So next year, I know I have to go back to basics and really hit home procedures and routines and rules, even with my high school students, and create an environment that is going to be conducive to my mental health for next year. So that's the reflection now. What can you do next year, or what were your major problems this year, that you can start researching and say, okay, how do I fix it? So, for example, hi Elizabeth. A big problem in my school is the technology. Okay, we have one-to-one Chromebooks, and there is no school-wide cell phone policy, which kind of drives me crazy. So it's teacher by teacher. I was new to the building, and I didn't really know. I was going to kind of see how it went. Next year, I'm going to tell my students and put a big old sign outside my door that cell phones are only to be used under 2 occasions, research and using for the camera for their documentation. I do not want to see them. I'm not even going to allow headphones next year. My students became zombies. I caught more than one of them on Netflix. Oh, I can watch TV and do art at the same time. I was like, I can barely do that and do good work. So next year, I already know, coming straight out the gate, I am not allowing the cell phones in my room. And I'm also going to very strictly manage when they're allowed to use their Chromebooks, because they'll do the same thing with the Chromebooks too. That's a whole nother rant on my mixed feelings about technology. So now's the time to really look at your frustrations of the year. What can you do to make next year better? So if you are just joining us, tonight is going to be probably quick. It's our last one. If you get out next week, I'm jealous. So we talked about closing down the art room. At this point, let's see, we've got one more show this weekend, and then all the artwork goes home. I don't keep anything, okay? So if you guys have any questions, now's the time to have that discussion. We can kind of talk and say, if you have any questions on what to do at this end of year. The other thing is, if this is your first or second year, you might also ask your administrator if you keep paper copies of your gradebook, excuse me, how long you need to keep it, or if you need to print them out. I've had districts do it both ways. So I personally have a paper copy because I'm that person. So you might consider keeping them for at least a semester, if not a quarter. I mean, just for covering your butt. So I hope nobody's been blown away by the storms. It's raining here, so let's have a discussion. If you're here and having questions about closing down the art room for the year, and maybe tips to make next year better if you have a very specific problem or issue or frustration. Maybe that's a better word, frustration. Got a few people. Like I said, now is the time to be looking at your supplies. If you were doing midnight Walmart runs, maybe order a few more of those. I know in my classroom we need more masking tape. I bought so much masking tape. So now is the time to do those reflections. If you feel like you had a good year, awesome. Jealous. I had a rough year. So, any discussion? And talk to myself some more, I guess. Ooh, this is also the great time to look at your floor plan and decide if it's going to work. And if you're quick, you can have your kids help you rearrange your room. So if it's like my school, they take all the furniture out and put it back in the way it's supposed to be. At least then you have that, hey, it was set up. This is how I want it. But have the kids help you, especially if you're at the high school level. And those high school boys, they can lift more easy than you can. Well, some of them. It's 50-50. I got a kid who gets tired cleaning mosaics, so who knows. Um, so like I said, think about your floor plan, think about the tools you use, think about your classroom furniture. Um, let's see, I moved my wheels and I'm going to have new electric drops in my room, which I've already put in to have moved from my classroom. Hopefully they can do that before next year. Those are the big things you want to talk to administration about, which I did. And look at ways to make it easier in your room, not only for you but for your students, if that makes sense. Yay, elementary art shows. Oh, the kids get so excited. Where are you from, Vivian? I know Central Plains had theirs last night too. Well, that's in the middle of Kansas, but at high school we just finished Vortex at Barton County Community College. And I know we're going to have a small exhibit at our variety show this weekend. Everyone's busy with art shows and cleaning up and music programs if you teach elementary. All right. Well, some things that you should probably do this summer, besides wear sunscreen, which I'm a firm believer in. As a fair-skinned person, wear sunscreen. Take naps if you like that sort of thing. I'm a napper. Don't spend all summer in your classroom. Just don't do it. Summer is the time to recharge and hang out with other art people. I've already got plans to go to summer camp and various other activities that I'm hoping to hang out with art people to do art that isn't kid related necessarily. So those are my big plans. Hang out with my family. Uh, do the stuff that you didn't have time for during the school year. Those kind of things. Um, as that funny little poster says, our teachers are solar powered. We recharge in the summer. You can also do some educational reading if you're looking for things to make yourself better. But don't be afraid to just kind of like ignore some educational stuff for a while. Like take a week or two or the whole month of June and you know recuperate because we're almost done, guys. Some of you have a week, some of us have 2.5, but we'll all make it. All right. We're going to give everyone about 5 minutes for questions because talking to myself is very strange. So if you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions for more mentor talks for next school year, we might do one over the summer. I've been trying to come up with a thing for new teachers over the summer. It's stalling out, but I'm trying. Any of those things. I love suggestions, constructive criticism, except for about my dragons. Sorry, I'm a nerd, but yeah, I'd love to have a conversation. I think I'm going to take a wheel home this summer, maybe. Practice my wheel skills. Although they assure me that driver's ed only takes 2 weeks in June. And I've been told by my partner teacher they literally start throwing my stuff out into the hallway the day the kids leave. So I got to get my room cleaned up. Kind of scary. So if you're just joining us tonight, kind of a slow night, talked about packing up the art room, what you should do, talk to your administrators. So if you guys have any specific questions, that's what I'm here for. Hopefully nobody's getting struck by lightning or blown away. The weather's been terrible. Or suggestions of what you should do over the summer. Remember, KAEA summer camp is still open right now. And if you like pastels, or even if you don't like pastels, go hang out with Lynn and Martha. And I say that because Natalie's workshop's almost full, but if you want wheel, get in quick. But the plein air one's got lots of spaces left, and Lynn's a hoot, and she'll teach you so much, and Martha's so cool. And you can do really amazing things with pastel that I never even thought you could. I always thought it was this messy, gross stuff, but it's awesome. So if you're looking for a recharge thing to hang out with art people, you might see my face. I'll be there for the ceramic one. I highly recommend summer camp. I do know that Kansas City Art Institute has a teacher camp for art teachers. I'm not really sure exactly what's all involved with that. If anybody's actually gone, let me know because I would be curious to do that maybe next year or the year after, possibly. If you can swing it, I've been to Summer Art Savannah Summer Education Forum twice, and that's amazing. Talk about art teacher camp. They put all of you in a dorm and you walk all over downtown Savannah. It's beautiful, it's humid, but it's awesome, and you do all sorts of artsy stuff. It's really wonderful if you get a chance. So I highly recommend you find those kind of artsy professional development things to do over the summer. It's quite enjoyable. It definitely helps recharge. We're going to give it about 2 more minutes and then call it a night since we don't have a lot of questions this evening. If anybody else has suggestions on what you should do to close up your art room, now's the time. I'm trying to think, and I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. In my school, we have to unplug everything, so like our kiln and any electronics and all that stuff to save on energy. And of course, I got to lock everything up because they're using my room for driver's ed. So those are some things you want to keep in mind. I have been told by other teachers to take personal items home. I'm not sure that's necessary in every school, but some teachers do recommend that. I will not be doing that because I have too much crap at school. Um, if you move schools, that's when you find out how much stuff you buy for your classroom. That's also when your husband finds out how much stuff you buy for your classroom. So keep that in mind. All right. Well, have a great rest of the school year, folks. Enjoy your summer. Wear sunscreen, and I hope to see some folks at the Wichita summer camp for KAEA. Okay, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.